Okay, everybody. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know where you guys are watching us from on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. We had some technical issues. We had to go back and start over, but we are a little bit late. We are very sorry, but here we are. My name is Rafael Gonçalves. This is the 15th edition of Core Talks, our bi-weekly podcast on private capital markets. We always bring news, innovations, and core partners to talk about the verticals and the market itself. And I'm very happy to be here today with Laura Pamatian. Is that right?
That's right.
I got it right. Laura Pamatian from HeightZero. It's a great company on real estate, a great core partner, and I'm very excited to be here to learn more about real estate business, to learn more about tokenization and blockchain, and how this whole market has evolved with time. So I'm very pleased to have you here, Laura. Please, the stage is yours. Tell us a little bit about you, about your background, how you started HeightZero, and everything.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Rafael. I appreciate you, and I appreciate Core Connects. You guys are amazing, always at the very forefront and always doing everything the right way. So I appreciate you and all that you guys are doing over there. Little background about me. I've been in real estate and development for 20 years. I started my career on the beautiful island of Maui, and I was in general brokerage at the time. And then I niched into luxury pre-construction, hotel resort real estate. So hotel branded resort real estate, which was like Ritz-Carlton, Residences, Mandarin Oriental, Auberge, Fairmont, Grand Hyatt. I end up on the Caribbean on several projects there. And long story short, 12 projects later, I end up back here in South Florida. And with COVID hitting, I had some time on my hands and I found myself learning more and more and more about what was happening in the blockchain space. I was kind of lost in the weeds there for a minute with crypto and DeFi and all these other things, but I found my way back to real estate and how blockchain is affecting the space. And I decided to pivot my career into the space. And that's what we're doing now. I launched a company called HeightZero.
That's nice. And COVID gave everybody a chance to reinvent themselves, to learn something new, to study something new. I myself, as a journalist during the pandemics, I became a PhD. I had nothing. I had a lot of time left, so let's buy some books. Let's write a thesis, and I decided started a web developer course. So I'm about to become a software developer just for fun.
I wish I was that smart.
Actually, I love reading and I love learning. So why not? Why not? No, but I wish I was that smart to understand a lot about the blockchain and stuff. But that's what we're here for. That's what we are here for today. But first of all, I would love to talk about something that we just picked up this morning. I just sent Laura this morning about a very impressive number of how female-led startups they are way more successful than male-led startups, and it's difficult to see women leading, women founding their own companies. So I'd love for you, Laura, to talk a little bit about that. How do you see yourself as a CEO, as a founder? How does it feel to be the only woman in the room? Hopefully, you're not the only woman in the room anymore. And diversity is important. Core Connects is proof of it because we are spread all over the world. We have people in Brazil, in India, in Canada, in the USA. It's important to have diversity. So I'd love to hear from you, Laura, this view on being a woman in this market that is dominated by white men normally.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't ever really view it that way. I guess from my perspective, I'm just out there trying to make a difference and work hard. And I've always had this, entrepreneurial type of drive. So yeah, as far as being the only woman in the room, I don't know. I think that's fine, I guess. I think that there's maybe an advantage sometimes to being a woman and with what we're doing. I also think it's really important to bring something to the table. And I've met some really incredible women in the space, women that have taught me some, very important things about the space. And I am just thrilled to be contributing.
Nice. That's nice.
Mhm.
It's always we always have to keep walking, right? It's a step, then we have another step, then we have another step,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how it goes. That's basically how it goes. That's amazing. So
Mhm.
let's start a little bit about our. Let's dive into our topic here. Let's talk about real estate and tokenization and the advisory. That all sounds very powerful. But first of all, when we say working with real estate, some people might have the idea that real estate is only about buying and selling houses or renting a place to live or an office. But I understand that real estate. If I say today, I work on the internet and I work with real estate, we're talking about broad things, right? So tell us more about this evolution in the real estate business from when you started until today with all this technology involved and your blockchain learning. And so tell us a little bit more on how it is now.
Yeah, things were really different 20 years ago, when I was 12. No, I'm just kidding. I really, I just have seen some really incredible things that are happening, right? Working in pre-construction development, there's a lot, and anyone who's in that space can tell you it's a very, very niche space. And there's a lot of antiquated processes in that process right now. Pre-construction development is very due for some changes. I think that will happen with this technology, not only from our perspective, but the logistical processes of a build out. And I don't know. I think that with real estate, with blockchain and how it's applying to the real estate space, we're able to do things that we never could before. Right? Traditionally, there's over $320 trillion of real estate out there, and less than 1% of it is liquid. So tokenization, blockchain is solving for that issue, and that's a major issue, right?
Well,
Trillions
that's
of
that's
dollars.
that's a huge number. Can you say that
Yeah,
again? Just because I'm taking notes. I'm a journalist. I'm old school. I take notes or I'll listen. I know
yeah,
it's recorded, but I like to take notes.
yeah. It's fine. $320 trillion of real estate
Wow.
out there in the world. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Yes. And
yeah,
only 1% is liquid.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
We're able with tokenization and with technology, we're able to, we're solving for that, and that is it's just a game changer in the industry. And when owners and developers and people in the space start to learn about it, you can always tell when it clicks, right? Because they're just like, wow, this is brilliant, and we need this, and this is going to make a huge difference in the world for what we're
Yes.
doing.
Yes. Every time you have a market that is that large, like $320 trillion,
Mhm.
of course there are opportunities. Of
Yeah,
course. Of
yeah,
course. A market that's large as that cannot be something dominated by a few people. So there's obviously something new there. So okay, let's talk a little bit more about the tokenization advisory, about the technology, the beautiful part, right?
yeah.
That sounds very hard to understand. And probably you, as a specialist, you could probably take 2 hours talking about it. But can we like explain it in like 5 minutes in a nutshell? How does it work?
Yeah. So you're referring to with our company, right? With what we're doing.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So with HeightZero, we're an advisory firm, right? We are specializing in tokenization. We specialize in project management. We're helping real estate owners, developers, syndicators to create and launch a security token offering for raising capital. Right, that's one way. We're helping them to create a branded online marketplace for their offerings to present to their investors, right, and to source investors. We're also helping to create liquidity for the investors in existing product through tokenization. So we aren't the technology. We aren't broker dealers, right? Attorneys, financial advisors, tax advisors. We are the solution that will help put all of those pieces together, and we help to plan out the strategy by bringing in the legal team, the tech partners, marketing, right? Working through liquidity strategies. How is that going to happen on the secondary market, et cetera? And we do that through education.
Wow, yeah, that was in a nutshell. I really like that explanation. I really like that. I really do understand that. That's
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's interesting. And I mean, you mentioned that you help structure the deal offerings, right? You're not a technology provider. You're not a broker dealer. Of course, you're one piece of the whole ecosystem, right? And at CoreConnex, we call that quarterbacking because that's very important
Yeah.
to keep the players moving. Whether you're activating a wide receiver or a tight end or a running back,
Yeah.
that's called quarter. That's literally quarterbacking. And you said you love Joe Montana, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Joe Montana is my all-time favorite great quarterback. He's amazing. Not that I was even born in that era yet, but yeah, he's amazing.
yeah. I'm a Dan Marino guy. I'm a Dan Marino. You're in
Ah,
Florida. You're in Florida, so you're
yeah,
probably
yeah.
you should
Great
consider getting.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, you
Great.
should consider getting a new favorite.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you talk about the real estate market that is constantly evolving and right now is at a completely different level, what is the relevance that you see for this role, for this quarterbacking role when we talk about blockchain and tokenization and the private capital market?
Yeah, I think it's really important to educate, right? There's so much information out there. I can't tell you, every day I talk to someone new and they are trying to figure it out. And they want to be able to take advantage of the technology. They know it's going to give them a competitive edge, but they don't know where to start. And I think for us, it's really education, teaching them, like taking them through the steps of, here's why this is going to benefit you, right? Here's why it's going to benefit the investors. Here's why it's going to be successful. When it's a win-win, right? When it's a win for the investors, it's a win for the developer, the issuer. There's everyone's winning, right? So how can this this technology not be successful? So to be able to help the owners and developers, someone having, giving them someone on their team that understands the entire process. Typically they don't have anyone on their team that's a blockchain specialist, right? A real estate developer, they want to know, how can we tokenize? And then they start asking around and nobody else knows. So we become that person. We are outsourced. We are their, trusted advisor. We will come in and we will help them to figure it out very quickly and put them in the right hands, right? With those that are working compliantly in the space.
Yeah, especially at CoreConnex, we believe that education is key.
Yeah.
Our blog, currently we have the largest library on Reg A and Reg CF
Yeah.
because there are blog posts from when the Jobs Act was first launched. So
Yeah.
we have the largest library, and that's just like what you said. Every day we run into new broker dealers or core partners like such as yourself, or law firms, or artificial intelligence firms, or investor acquisition firms, and it's all a learning process, right? It's everything's we still have to. The market is young. The private capital market is still evolving, and it's all a matter of fitting the pieces together, right?
Yeah. And I think that that's really important, right? To be able to explain that quickly, in that tokenization isn't, you just, call up a software company and all of a sudden you have a way to raise capital, right? There's so many different pieces in that have to be put together, and you really need to figure out what the goal is for the owner, right? And long-term goal, and not just, we do it this way today, and then tomorrow we wish we had done it a different way. Is what ends up happening. So
Yes, that's basically it. And education is the first thing we have to learn in this market. We have to keep learning. Things change every day because today we're on LinkedIn, then we can be on Spotify, then we have our blog, and our CEO Oscar is every week on fintech TV. The only constant, the only thing we are sure about is change, right?
Right. He says that all the time. Yeah.
Evolution and everything else, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen. We know that.
Yep.
Okay, so this education role is very important to lead clients into the best result possible, if we can say that. So, what kind of customer do you potentially reach out to? Who can look for HeightZero for help? Who can go for you? What kind of client are you suitable to help?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different, when we talk about tokenization, there's so many different types of tokenization. And I don't think people realize that, right? But for us, when we're working with the owners, there's the owner of the property that wants to create liquidity for their existing investors, right? They have product that they've owned for years and years. They have investors that have been invested for years and years, and they want to be able to create liquidity in that product. So we can use tokenization. We can talk to them and help them figure out how to get that done. And then also on the other side is we will work with the owner who wants to raise capital through a security token offering, right? And that means creating attractive investment opportunities, products that are like commercial multifamily, right? Hospitality, hotels, resort properties, trophy assets, high profile new development product. So those types of products are really ideal for raising capital also because it's a really great investment opportunity, right? It all comes down to the story when you're raising capital, and you're going to do that, pretty traditionally by, telling that story and how it's going to benefit the investor. And then we add the tech layer on top and it just makes it even better.
You just said something that is very important, telling a story, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not selling stocks, you're
Right.
selling stories, right? And being able to tell a good story is also a very important part of offerings, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also just, what is the story behind the investment? And, a big difference in what we're doing is that this investment, this share is backed by real estate, right? So even though you have liquidity, like you just said, like on the stock market, you have this opportunity with private companies now to have liquidity in that. And the way that we're able to create that with using tokenization, that's really the key.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. And let's imagine that I want to be your customer. I want to call you. I want to schedule a meeting. And I want to become your customer. Let's imagine I check all these boxes you just mentioned. How do you start? Where do you start? Where does HeightZero start working? And what do you guys start doing with me? And how does it all start?
Yeah, we just have the conversation on what your goals are, right? What is the customer goal? What is the short-term goal? What is the long-term goal? We will assess that, and then we determine what path, right? Is it we're going to use tokenization for asset management, and we're going to create liquidity in an existing asset and give the owners and their LPs the option of liquidity, or are we raising capital through a security token offering, right? Two completely different types, like we just said. And with raising capital, we kind of go through and decide what type of offering that's going to be. We start with regulation. Who are your target investors? What do you qualify for from the regulatory perspective? And then we start working into building out the team. And we start to assemble that team and put together and create and launch the offering. And it's a lot. It's a lot of steps. With tokenization of an existing asset, that could take 2 to 4 weeks, right? They meet certain criteria. The asset qualifies. They meet certain criteria for compliance in their documents, and then we can onboard and we can create liquidity in their existing asset, right, through tokenization. With a capital raise, security token offering, they could take months, right? We could take 3 to 4 months, depending on the process, depending on the regulation that they qualified for, that they've selected. putting together the team, putting in marketing, legal, secondary market trading, all of those things. And we manage that whole process.
That's interesting. You said 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, that's really quick, huh? I mean,
It's very quick, yeah.
in the best case scenario, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the best case scenario, and that's with meeting if the asset qualifies, right, then it'll take 2 to 4 weeks. And just going through that qualification is something that we assist with, right? We will talk about what that means, and then we'll walk them through that process. And if tokenization looks like a right option for them, then they can make that decision. But that part of it doesn't take very long. There's no we're not working to go through that entire process that you would with a capital raise, right? This is a closed offering. They've already raised. They have existing investors, so very different.
Yes, okay, I get it. And there's something else you mentioned that caught my eye here, caught my eye or caught my ear. I don't know exactly if we should change that. I should change that expression now that we are all online.
Right.
Always working online through microphones. But I think it would be helpful if we could differentiate two concepts here for our audience. Liquidity is one thing, and raising capital is another thing. Capital raise is another thing.
Yeah. Just very similar to what we just kind of talked through, in that if you have an existing asset, you have investors, it's a closed offering, you already did your raise, you've stabilized the asset, there's your investors are enjoying the benefits of being an investor, and we can assist in creating liquidity, or the option of liquidity, through tokenizing that closed offering, right? Turning those shares into tokens. With raising capital, we're actually going to raise capital traditional way, right? There's a very strict process in doing that, working compliantly with the SEC, working with legal, getting your docs in order, going through all of those steps, marketing compliantly. In that process, we ultimately, yes, we create tokens and liquidity for the investors as well, but it's, two different ways of getting there.
Okay, got it. Yes, it's nice. It's nice to know because sometimes we are very familiar with the terms, but the client said, "Oh, I don't know exactly. Liquidity and raising money is the same because I need money."
Yeah.
No, that's not. It's a
Right.
little bit different, right?
Yeah. And we're just talking really high level. Like, I just try to keep it really, really high level. There's more to it. And, obviously there's legal involved and all of those other important pieces.
Yeah, it's not like we're sealing a contract here. Oh, 2 to 4 weeks. No, but
Right.
there's a whole process behind it of
That's right.
documents and preparation, and that's the
Yeah.
best case scenario. Again, we're not closing a deal here, right? So
Right.
we're not
Yeah, exactly. Same thing, right? With an STO, with security token offering, right? If you're going to raise capital, it could take, depending on many factors, but once you launch, which could take 3 months to create, and then you're going to launch, it could take, I don't know, months after that, right? Because you're raising capital, and how we go about that, and what that strategy looks like could be a couple of months. It could be months and months.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, yeah. There's the period that the offering is live, and
yep.
then there are a whole lot of other variables that are involved. I don't know if that happens in your business. That happens to HeightZero, but do you ever get customers saying, "Oh, can I use Reg A, Reg CF, Reg D? What should I do?" Do you get this kind of questions from clients?
Oh yeah, all the time. And I don't think it's necessarily I don't think they're actually saying, should I use Reg A, should I use Reg D, right? Because I'm not sure they really know, or with CF, right? Because when I use those terms, they're like, well, what do you mean? But they know what I mean, just not in those terms, right? So it's just a matter of who you want to target, who's your target audience, and if you qualify for Reg A plus, and there's certain criteria that we have the boxes and we check them off. Is this the right type of offering for Reg A plus? And that's truly democratizing real estate, right? You're truly democratizing real estate when you're able to offer the product to everyone, right? Every investor over the age of 18, whether it's here in the US or overseas. And obviously we do that with the help of legal. We have an incredible legal team. Your legal team, right? There's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. But yeah, it really just kind of depends, and it starts with regulation. I mean, everyone's like, well, let's tokenize. We want to tokenize.
But it's fun. It's fun in a sense that
everyone should want to tokenize, right? Everyone should go digital. All this product that's out there,
exactly.
I see it as it's all going to be digital at some point, right? And eventually, when these investors are educated, these investors are going to start asking the owners of the deal, right, of their offerings, are you tokenizing this offering, right? Am I going to have liquidity? And those are the things that are going to start to happen as education gets out there. And those owners of that product, they want to be ready for that. There's some that already are. There's some that are out there and they're already doing this because they know.
Yeah, I think this is a fun aspect of that. When I asked the question about the Reg A, Reg CF, or what kind of client comes to you, people are starting to see the information out there and they want to know more, right? Of course, they're not becoming specialists because they have a business to run, right? So that's why we exist. That's why you are there. That's why broker dealers are there. That's why the ecosystem's there, because nobody has to be a specialist in everything. But it's fun to see that people are getting out there and the message is getting across and the markets are evolving and we're growing. The ideas are getting more mature, if you could say that, right? Because the messages are getting across. That's interesting to see. We work with education. I work with communication. So for me, it's wonderful to hear from you the saying, oh, clients do get to me asking about Reg A, Reg CF. Good. So our messages are going out there.
Yeah.
We're getting heard and getting read, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So we talked about tokenization, about going digital. Can we talk about the secondary market a little bit, about ATS? How does it work? How does it work? How does the secondary market work with this tokenization aspect? How can we work on that?
Yeah, I mean, with secondary market, it just depends on obviously how the primary was issued, right? If you have a restricted resale period or not, and you can list that offering on an ATS, an alternative trading system, and the investors would then be able to have the option of liquidity, right? They would be able to dilute or exit a portion or all of their shares if they wanted to do that, and they can do that on the secondary market through an ATS. And there's some other ways too, but that's really high level.
Yeah, that's not for now, right? It's not for now. We don't want to.
I think the bottom line is that you're giving them the option, right?
Yes, the secondary market is definitely going to be there. There's no need to be afraid to go digital,
right?
And right, because everything's becoming digital. I had a professor once at college, like 2 years ago, and he said, "You don't own your money. Somebody tells you that you can use the amount of money, because we don't see money anymore, right? We just see the numbers and bank accounts and our credit cards or whatever. You don't own your money. Someone gives you permission to use that quantity. It's a nice way of looking at digitalization, right?
Yeah, just numbers in a ledger, right? Just numbers.
Yeah, they are all zeros and ones inside a computer somewhere, and when you talk about blockchain, it's not somewhere, it's literally everywhere, right? So basically that's it. Well, Laura, I think we pretty much covered everything we expected to talk about the real estate and to talk about HeightZero. It's been a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about this business and about HeightZero. And CarConnex, we're organizing Core Summit for November on real estate. Today is October 21st. Next week we're having our Core Summit on cannabis, and November is our real estate month. So we are starting to pave our way into real estate. So we're gonna start talking about that, and I hope to have you here more often. Really,
Thank you so much.
I hope to. Oh, we had a question here.
Oh, we did?
We had a question here. If blockchain underlies the tokenization, does blockchain underlie tokenization, and also are the tokens NFTs?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a great question, right? So the difference, I think, in really high level, right, like we're saying, is NFTs are non-fungible tokens. NFTs we are seeing in real estate to transfer the asset in its entirety, right? So if I want to sell a home or a property, I can create an NFT and we can transfer the property that way, right? There's a lot of other steps, and it's going to be a while before we get there where this can mainstream because of legislation, et cetera. But we're seeing NFTs in that type of situation. With security tokens, we're seeing that more in the interest in the property, right? The shares, the investor interest, so that we can create tokens on the blockchain. So with a non-fungible token, it's unique. It represents the entire property. That property cannot be duplicated, etc. With security tokens, they are fungible. They are they're not like crypto, right? If you lose it, it's gone forever. With security tokens, we can burn them, reissue them, and you get you're not losing your shares. So very different, but we are seeing use case with NFTs in real estate, and we hope that that's where the industry goes. It's just going to take some education of everyone, right? Because it is a very secure way to transact.
Yes, definitely. It's soon. It's probably going to be the only way to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks for the question. Thanks a lot for the question. It was a very good one. I believe we covered it. We've covered it all. Laura,
And if for some reason I didn't answer that question, just feel free to reach out. I'm
sure.
happy to have an offline conversation with anyone that has
Sure.
questions.
We are all tagged here in the LinkedIn post on YouTube, so it's pretty much easy to find us on Car Connects, or to find Laura, or to find HeightZero. I mean, we're here, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to say your final goodbyes, and please, Laura, the stage is yours. Let's wrap it up.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thanks for all that you guys are doing. We are grateful to be part of the ecosystem. We are, doing everything that we can to bring and solve basically solve problems for the owners and developers and investors. So if there's anything that we can do to help, feel free to reach out.
That's very nice. That's very good, Laura. It was a pleasure having you here. I still got a lot to learn on blockchain and on real estate. We're gonna get there, hopefully by November, by our curse summit.
Let's do it again soon for sure.
Sure. We need to have more. We need to have more content, and need to have more education.
Yeah.
And if you have been watching us so far, thank you very much. We are on LinkedIn Live. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify as well, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on iTunes. So stay tuned. Next week, we're having the Cannabis Core Summit on Car Connects. Follow us on LinkedIn and on Spotify as well. Thanks for your audience. Thanks for your company. And have a great weekend, you all. Thank you, Laura. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Raphael.